I have quite a few sustainable things in my house, and I would regardless of the size of my house. I think we'll go from least important to most important, and by important I just mean the amount of value that it holds in my personal life. The first few things, you know, I could live without them. Middle of the road stuff, and then absolutely love it and would buy it again. Most of this stuff you don't have to buy again. That's kind of the whole point. Enough of my yapping. Ta-da! This is my recycling. And it is in a reusable trash bag. These might not be super versatile. You kind of have to have a purpose in mind. Oh, Mama Bear baby wear. These are handmade by a woman on Etsy. And they're for diapers. So smart. I think that's really smart. Anyway, I use it for my recycling because this bottom drawer here is a weird shape and I can't really fit a trash can in it. Or I could, but the trash can would be very small. Using a bag allows me to take up that whole space, and then I can just empty this into a recycling receptacle when I come across one. You can wash these. You can put them in the washing machine. These are lined with a plasticky material. I don't want to call it waterproof. I feel like that might be a strong term. So you can use it for grody stuff. Because I'm never using my very own trash can, I'm always on the hunt for campsite trash can or gas station trash can, stray dumpster. It's kind of impractical for me to use this for that kind of garbage. Number 2 is gonna be my Energizer rechargeable battery bank block. I couldn't think of a third B word. The reason this is only number 2 on the list is because I don't use a whole lot of things that require batteries. Definitely not infinitely usable, but obviously more reusable than regular batteries. This little guy works for AA and AAA. It'll fit both. On the theme of not using batteries, we have... There may very well be other companies that have USB rechargeable headlamps. BioLite's the only one I know of. It is truly delightful. I just hate batteries. Not only for the fact that they're kind of wasteful, but just so much of a bother. This gives me a little warning light when I need to charge it, and the best feature, angle that bad boy down so you don't blind your homies. The headlamp's definitely a little bit higher on the list, but I had to jump ahead to talk about it because it was on theme. This little guy is a dehumidifier. This is by the brand Eva Dry. Instead of, what are those called? Damperid. This is the reusable version of a Damperid. You can buy new crystals for the inside of a Damperid, so you reuse the bucket. But the whole thing is grody and sketchy to me. So anyway, this is all contained. So all the scary stuff that makes the humidity go away stays in here. There's an indicator on here that lets you know when it has absorbed enough moisture or as much moisture as it can. When that happens, you just plug it in, let it sit. I think it usually takes about 24 hours and then it'll go back to dry and you can do it all over again. I keep this by my window that gets wet sometimes. I don't want to call it a leak because it'll hear me. I don't have a whole lot of pet peeves, but underneath your little sink area, full of like 8,000 different spray bottles is totally one of them. I have so many feelings about it. I'll contain myself. This is not a brand endorsement. I have feelings about this brand that I will get to in a minute, but for now I am using this concentrated cleanser because I only have to use this much in my spray bottle. One spray bottle for the entire house, and the rest is water, which I already have on hand almost all the time. Normally I spray this after I use my composting toilet. Mrs. Meyer's is not entirely biodegradable. I'm pretty excited to try out a recipe that I got from my mom, who's a big old hippie. Orange peels that have been soaked in white vinegar and diluted. Because my gray water gets dumped right out onto the grass, I have to be really mindful about what soap I'm using. So if you have any recommendations for brands that don't just say biodegradable but actually are biodegradable, I am all ears. I feel like it is really hard to find things that are not greenwashed. Anyway, I'll get off my pedestal about that. My composting toilet itself is a sustainable item. It transforms what would be black water, sewage, waste into fertilizer and compost. It also does not use any water. Water conservation is pretty big in tiny house living and also environmentalism in general. That's the main reason why I went with a foot pump over an electric pump for my sink. I can really control how much water I'm using. It's impossible to leave it running while I'm doing dishes or brushing my teeth. Although I can't compare numbers directly, it's pretty hard to believe that an electric pump would use less water. I feel like we got really out of order as far as the importantness scale, because I love my foot pump and my toilet. I would probably put those at the top. But anyway, something I've been using even before I moved into a tiny house was reusable mop heads, Swiffer wipes. I don't want to call them Swiffer because this is not a Swiffer brand object. You can just use a dishcloth. So you don't need a specially engineered mop to use this trick. You don't need these. You already have what you need. Unless you don't have one of those mops at all, in which case, let's move right along. Ta-da! These are Chico bags. I'll show you what they look like. They are a little bit time consuming to like open and close, and I feel a little bit like a crazy person when I'm at a regular grocery store and not like a Whole Foods where everybody, you know, is crazy. So it's this. Boop. And I find that I usually go grocery shopping like every 2 weeks, and I need like 1 more of these, so 4 is almost enough. The fact that these are so small is very, very underrated. I was using a tote bag full of tote bags, which if you can just imagine like a throw pillow stuffed inside of a tote bag, super cumbersome, super annoying. This is so teeny tiny. It fits in here with all of my other produce bags. So I have 2 different types of produce bags in here too. I think I have, yeah, I've got 3 of these bad boys and 2 of these, and they all fit in this one little guy. These are Lotus bags, Purifyu, P-U-R-I-F-Y-O-U. That's that. Very, very light, very, very easy to remember, especially after you've been doing it for so long. I used to forget these all of the time, and I was so upset at myself. You know, I bought these really nice things to use and be more sustainable, and I kept forgetting them. Like the first year, maybe I brought them 1 in 10 times, and the next year I brought them 1 in 5 times. And now it's so rare that I forget them that it just takes time and repetition. So don't get down on yourself. I can't imagine having this on my keychain. I would feel like such a dweeb. I always need more than 1 anyway, so having 5 of them on my keys, oh my gosh, cursed. The bonus item is my closet full of thrifted clothing. I don't want to say I'm passionate about thrifting. That makes me sound a little off my rocker. Is it a hobby? Is thrifting a hobby? This is probably old news to you, but it is always going to be more sustainable to continue to use something that has already been created and extend its life rather than creating the demand for something new. If you're feeling it, go ahead and watch this video that I made about tiny living hacks. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.